today, it's my cool visual aid. It says 200 million. Yeah, 200 million. What if it were you? Don't you know what that means?
No.
Probably don't. That's why you gotta listen to this. So today we're going to talk about fMLA and what I think should be changed about it. fMLA is the Family Medical and Leave Act. That was enacted 22 years ago by President Clinton. So FMLA, so what we're going to talk today about is FMLA and why we should change it and what good could come from changing it to pay people while they're on leave. Because currently FMLA covers people, say, who are sick or have a baby, and it allows them 12 weeks of leave. So, of course, according to the Kansas Department of Administration, in order to use FMLA, you need to be a full-time employee for up to 12 months, and you should have worked, 1,250 hours that year. Okay, so this is a good thing because then it only provides FMLA for dedicated employees. So people aren't 8 months pregnant and get a job for a month thinking that they're going to get paid leave after working there for a month. Companies only have to abide by the FMLA law as long as they have 50 employees or more. If they have under 50 employees, they don't have to provide you with that time off. And with that, okay, so according to the Department of Labor, FMLA covers the birth of a child up to a year of age. So you can take any time from the time they're born till a year. You get a total of 12 weeks. This also applies to if you're sick. You can take, again, 12 weeks of leave to recoup. You can take 12 weeks of leave to take care of a sick relative. And the really cool thing about FMLA, being from a military family, you get 26 weeks to care for a wounded soldier, or if they have a serious illness, you get 26 weeks as well. But all that's fine, but you don't get paid for any of those. Okay, according to the U.S. Department of Commerce, FMLA only allows you a job to come back to. It doesn't mean that you get paid this whole time. It just means that they have to provide you with a job when you come back at the same wage. And you also say you go back to work, and then something happens and you take more time off for the same situation. If you haven't used that total 6 weeks of time, or 12 weeks of time, you have up to a year since the first day you took it to take more. So, everything has its pros and cons. So I've told you some really good things about FMLA. One thing that it does not do for us is pay us. So recently, I had a baby and I took minimum my 6 weeks because my doctor told me I had to take 6 weeks. But I didn't get paid for any of it. So only a small number of employees take advantage of the FMLA because, of course, they're not paid. And so single moms or, if mom's breadwinner, they go back, they sometimes only take a week and then they'll return to work after having a baby. According to Huffington Post, only 15% of providers pay maternity leave. And most families take on a significant amount of debt when moms, of course, take off of work for a baby and they don't get paid. Another thing that happens with maternity leave that is not paid, a lot of moms turn to public assistance, like food stamps or welfare, because there's not enough income. Another thing that people say, well, why didn't you have this, is short-term disability. The problem with short-term disability is that it only kicks in after 30 days. And recently, recently I had a coworker who was in the hospital for 27 days to have a baby because she had a serious illness. Well, because that incident was different than her going home to take care of the baby, her short-term disability didn't pay out because it was only 27 days, and they considered it two different issues. So some people think that they're taking care of what they need to take care of, and it doesn't work out for them. So, in the past 22 years, since this act has been enacted, over 200 million people have taken out FMLA. They have used. So the most common reason that people do not take FMLA is because they can't afford to. So the U.S. is one of the only countries that doesn't pay maternity leave. Most countries pay at least 3 months, and some even provide dad with assistance. Currently, there are 3 states who are kind of experimenting with their own version of FMLA, where they're providing insurance, leave insurance through payroll. They deduct it out of payroll. And they've found that in these states, only 1% of the population is taking advantage of it, because that's the only percentage that needs it. So they're being able to fully fund it with payroll deductions, and it's not very much money. So one example recently, Google has changed their policy from 3 months paid leave to 5 months paid leave for new mothers, and they found that more than half of their mothers returned to work. So, and another study in New Jersey, women who were able to take maternity leave because of course, their state's program, 40%, they had a 40% decrease in the women who turned to public assistance. So, and in California, 6% of mothers were more likely to be working a year later. So what are the benefits of paid leave? It helps with postpartum depression. Mothers who, of course, are be able to stay home with their babies longer, so they get that mom-baby bond, so there's no separation issues. So it increases the number of women in the workplace. It helps middle class provide a stable income, which also decreases the amount of people who take public assistance. And moms are more likely to return to work. So providing leave leave for their employees doesn't necessarily hurt these companies because they're 50 or more, and it's a small number of people who actually need to take the leave. So, and you know, FMLA is not just for women. On my chart here, it says that 19% of people who take FMLA are caring for a relative, and that can only be a spouse, a child, or a parent. 15% are recovering from a medical procedure. 4%, it's their own medical condition, like diabetes for some reason. 21% is their own illness or injury. And 41% is pregnancy, childbirth, and adoption, because you get 12 weeks when you adopt. So, currently, more than 450 organizations and 63% of voters are already for this change, and it is in process. It is in progress, so it will be something we vote for. So when it comes time to vote, you should vote yes to change FMLA.